Another awkward moment.
Drew, have you seen my new top? Honey, I'm home. Thanks for making the dinner.
Another awkward moment.
Well, boys and girls, that was a bit awkward, wasn't it? Some might even say that it was a bit over the top. Okay, so we're going to sing our song, and this week it's taken from the Bible, from John chapter 14 and verse 6, where Jesus says of himself, "I am the way, the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me." You see, it's only through trusting in what Jesus has done for us on the cross, taking the punishment that we deserve, so that if we trust in Jesus, we can be forgiven and have new life. Isn't that amazing? Well, let's sing this song. It's called One Way, Jesus.
I lay my life down at your feet. You're the only one I need. I turn to you and you are always there. In troubled times it's you I see. I put you first, that's all I need. I humble all I am, all to you. One way, Jesus, you're the only one that I could live for. One way, live by faith and not by sight. For you, we're living all for you. Up a bit higher. You are the way, the truth, and the life. We live by faith and not by sight. For you, we're living all for you. You are the way. You are the way, the truth, and the life. We live by faith and not by sight. For you, we're living all for you. You are the way, the truth, and the life. We live by faith and not by sight. For you, we're living all for you. One way, Jesus, you're the only one that I could live for. One way, Jesus, you're the only one that I could live for. One way, Jesus, you're the only one that I could live for. One way, Jesus, you're the only one that I could live for.
Brilliant singing, boys and girls. Well done. Now, before we move on to our story, I have a bit of sad news to share, which is that next week is our last week of Kids Bible Club for now, before we wrap it up for the summer. I know, but some good news is that if you keep an eye on the YouTube channel, you'll see a playlist of some of our favourite songs that we have been singing over these past few weeks in Kids Bible Club. So keep an eye. Now, for now, we're going to hear Keith as he tells us more of the story of Elijah. Over to you, Keith.
Hello, boys and girls. So today I want to tell you not one, but two stories. They're both beside each other in the Bible, and they both have the same characters. They've got three characters in them. The first one is the guy, or the prophet, who you've been learning about over the last few weeks. Can you remember his name? Yeah, Elijah. So we're going to think again about Elijah, the prophet, the man of God. But we're also going to think about a lady and her son. Okay, so that's the three characters, and they appear in both stories. It's in 1 Kings chapter 17, if you want to look later on today. But God tells Elijah to get up and to go to Zarephath. And when he gets there, God says, Elijah, you're going to meet a widow. Now, a widow is the name or the word that we use to describe a woman who, sadly, she had been married, but her husband has now died. So she's left on her own without a husband. Well, she's not quite on her own, because this particular widow actually has a son. So she must have had a son with her husband before he passed away. And there she is, she's left just by herself with her son. She's in Zarephath, but she's in a really, really difficult situation, because not only does she not have her husband, she's really struggling, because in that land at that time, there was a famine. That means there was no rain. And when we have very little rain, that means that crops or our food struggles to grow and to produce the food for our bodies. So this woman has lost her husband, and there's very little rain, there's very little water, and as a result, there's very little food. And Elijah comes to the city gate, and he sees her, and she is out gathering in sticks. Probably gathering the sticks to use them to burn a little fire, and on top of that fire then to bake some bread. And Elijah says to her, excuse me, would you mind, sorry to trouble you, but would you mind bringing me just a little bit of water, just a bit thirsty, you know? Bring me a little bit of water. She says, yeah, certainly, yeah, I'll do that. And just as she's turning and going to get the water, Elijah says, sorry, would you also bring me a little morsel, a little tiny loaf, a little small amount of bread? That's not really the sort of thing you ask a lady for in a country that's experiencing a famine. It put her in a really awkward position, and she had to say to him, I am so sorry, but our country is in a famine, and I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm actually out and I'm gathering sticks to create a little fire, and onto the fire I'm going to use some of this stuff, some oil, and I'm going to use some flour. She would have had it in this packaging, of course, but she's going to use some oil and some flour, and I'm going to mix it together, get the ingredients right, get the mixture right. I'm going to make a little bit of bread, but actually, Elijah, it's going to be my last ever bread. This is the last flour I have. It's the last oil I have. I'm preparing the fire. I'm going to make the bread. I'll share it with my son. We're going to eat it. And then we're going to die. Die of hunger because we're all out of food. And Elijah replies and he says, okay, I want you to go ahead with your plan. I want you to make that loaf of bread. But before you do that for yourself and your son, I want you to bake me a small loaf. Do you get how rude that is? Do you get how crazy that is? For Elijah to say to this woman, make me some bread. I know you're about to starve and die, but give me some of your food. He says, do not fear, because the flour and the oil will not run out. They will not be spent. They'll not run out. In fact, they'll keep replenishing. They'll keep replacing themselves again and again and again. You will not run out. I know there's a famine, but God is telling me you will not run out of food. He will provide for you. Can you imagine being that woman? Nuts. Imagine the decision you've got to make. Do I believe this stranger who's just waltzed up into my land? Do I believe that he's actually a man of God and that what he's saying God will provide is actually true? And use the last of my food, our last meal, to give some of it to this man? Or do I just keep it for myself and ignore him and forget about him? What a crazy. Is he telling the truth? And she decides in an amazing moment of just faith and braveness to go with it. And she makes a small loaf for Elijah. And when she goes back, the oil and the flour is not spent. There's more. And in fact, she never runs out of that oil and flour. It continually replaces. Do you know when you pour something out of a bottle and you're pouring it out, and then you look at the bottle and there's nothing left? Well, this is a crazy story, because when she poured the oil out of the jar and made her loaf of bread using that in the fire, she looked back in it though. It was full again. And when she used the flour and she poured it all out, nothing left, empty bag. Made her lovely loaf and looked back and what? But it's full of flour again. God provided, God looked after them. So that's our first story. The second story is about the same people. In fact, Elijah stayed with the widow in a guest room in her house. And one day the widow came down and told, Elijah was chatting, and my son's not well, he's ill. In fact, the boy became so unwell and so ill that very sadly the breath left his body. He died. And the widow came to Elijah and said, what is going on? My son is dead. I've invited you in. What have you done, Elijah? Have you brought this on my family? And she blamed Elijah because her son had died. And Elijah's heart must have just been hurting so much, and he asked the lady, give me your son. Give your son, the body of your son, to me. And he carried him in his arms up to his room, and he laid the dead, lifeless body of the boy on his bed. And in a broken-hearted way, he just cried out to God 3 times. He cried out to God and he said, God, just get the life, get the breath back in this little boy. Bring him back to life, please, God. Second time, please, God, save this boy. 3rd time, God, please put the breath of life back in this boy's lungs. And on the 3rd time, the Lord, we are told in verse 22, the Lord listened. God listened to Elijah. And he brought the boy back to life. He was dead, and now he's alive. Incredible. And can you imagine this? Imagine a real life story. Elijah the prophet carries the once dead body of this dead boy's body. Now it's full of life. He carries it downstairs to his mum, who's just grief-stricken, who's so sad, she's lost her son. And in comes Elijah and he says, see, your son lives. He's alive. And the widow just turned to Elijah and said, now I know that what you say is true. You are a man of God. God must be real. These stories remind me of God, the God that I believe in, the God that I live for. You see, God provides for all our needs. And we don't really ever own anything. Here I am sitting in my study, but it's not mine. This is given to me by God. And downstairs, I'm so thankful because we have some food in the cupboards. We've got a loaf of bread that we can eat. But that is a gift from God. He has given that to me, and we should be so thankful for that. But God gives us more than just food and things. God gives us something that money just cannot buy. And that is, God gives us life. God gives us life. He is the life in our bodies. He is the breath. Take a big breath in. And then out. God gave you that breath. That was a gift from God. He's keeping you alive right now. He wants you to be alive in this moment. It's an exciting time to be alive, isn't it? When God wants you here. But God gives us not just life on earth. He gives us life after death. He gives us life in heaven. And that's the greatest gift of all. And God gives that to us. This story reminds us that God is in control of the things that are on this world, the things that are material. God is in control of our life and our death. Our days are numbered by Him. But it also points to the fact Elijah prayed 3 times. That reminds me that Jesus was dead for 3 days, and then He defeated not just death but sin. And He offers us eternal life with Him if we accept Him. He offers us life in heaven forever and ever if we just accept Him into our lives and live for Him. So I hope you've enjoyed these stories. They're amazing. They're incredible stories of our God. Just the best thing, the best person, the best friend you could have. So I hope you've enjoyed them, and I hope you chat about them as well. Hope you chat about them after this video with someone at home and discuss what they mean, because it's awesome. It's so good.
Super listening, boys and girls, well done. Now, if you enjoyed this week's video, why not click on last week's video to see more of the same. And until next week, bye boys and girls.